Have you ever wondered how a 9-year-old boy, left to starve on a frozen grassland with no family, no protection, and no name that mattered to anyone, grew up to build the largest empire the world has ever known? This is not just a story about war or conquest. This is the story of a boy who was abandoned by everyone he trusted, and who turned that pain into the kind of strength that changed the map of the world forever. Hello my friends, welcome to PastEcho. Before we begin, find a comfortable place to sit. Take a slow, deep breath. Let your shoulders relax. Today's story will take you across the wide, silent grasslands of ancient Mongolia, into a world of loyalty, betrayal, and unbelievable survival. Let's begin. Picture a vast, empty steppe. The wind moves across the grass like a whisper, cold and endless. In the distance, a small fire is dying out, its smoke rising thin and gray into a pale sky. Beside it kneels a boy, no older than 9, staring down at his father's body. His father has just been poisoned by rivals from another tribe. There is no one to protect this boy now. No army, no home, no name that means anything. The wind keeps blowing. The boy keeps staring. And somewhere far away, though he does not know it yet, history is already waiting for him. This boy's name was Temujin. He was born around the year 1162, in a land we now call Mongolia. Later, the world would come to know him by a different name, Genghis Khan. But in this moment, he was just a frightened child. To understand why his story is so extraordinary, you need to understand the world he was born into. Mongolia at that time was not one country. It was a patchwork of tribes, constantly fighting each other, constantly shifting their loyalty from one leader to another. There was no safety net, no government to protect a family in trouble. If your clan abandoned you, you were as good as dead. And that is exactly what happened to Temujin. After his father died, the very clan that was supposed to protect his family turned their backs on them. They saw a widow and her children as weak, as useless without a strong man to lead them, so they left. Temujin, his mother Holon, and his siblings were cast out onto the open steppe with almost nothing. They survived by eating wild roots, catching fish, and hunting small animals like marmots. This was an exile, which means being forced to leave your home and live apart from the people and place you once belonged to. Imagine going from being the family of a respected leader to fighting for scraps of food just to stay alive. That is the kind of fall very few people ever recover from. But Temujin did not just survive this exile. He let it shape him into someone who would never again let himself be powerless. Life on the steppe grew even harder. As Temujin grew older, tension built inside his own family over something as simple as food. In a moment that shows just how brutal survival had become, Temujin ended up killing his own half-brother, Begtur, during a dispute over a small catch of fish and a bird they had hunted. It is a difficult and painful part of his story, but it shows how far desperation can push a person when the whole world has already taken so much from them. As Temujin grew into a young man, life kept testing him, again and again. At one point, he was captured by a rival clan called the Taishut and forced into slavery, a heavy wooden collar locked around his neck so he could not easily escape. But Temujin was ruthless in his will to survive, meaning he showed no mercy toward the obstacles standing between him and freedom. One night, he managed to escape, running through the darkness with nothing but his own determination guiding him. Not long after, Temujin married a young woman named Borte. But even this happiness was not safe for long. Rivals from the Merkit tribe raided their camp and kidnapped Borte, taking her away from him. Instead of giving up, Temujin gathered allies from nearby clans and rode out to bring her back. This rescue did more than reunite him with his wife. It proved to the people around him that Temujin was someone worth following, someone who did not run from danger but rode straight into it for the people he loved. Perhaps the deepest wound of all came from someone Temujin once called his closest friend. As a boy, he had formed a blood brotherhood with a young man named Jamuka, a bond meant to last a lifetime. But as they both grew into powerful leaders, their friendship turned into rivalry. Jamuka eventually became one of Temujin's fiercest enemies, and years of shifting alliances, small wars, and broken trust followed. Each betrayal, each battle, each loss taught Temujin something new about strategy, about loyalty, and about what kind of leader he wanted to become. Slowly, tribe by tribe, ally by ally, the boy who once had nothing began building something no one on the steppe had ever seen before, a single, unified people. In the year 1206, everything changed. At a great gathering of tribal leaders called a Kurultai, Temujin was declared the ruler of all the Mongol and Turkic tribes. For the first time in history, the endless fighting clans of the steppe stood united under one leader. He was given a new title that day, Genghis Khan, meaning something close to universal ruler, or fierce ruler. Think about that for a moment. This was the same boy who had once knelt beside his father's body with no one left to protect him. Now, he stood at the center of a nation that had never existed before, a nation he built with his own hands out of loss, betrayal, and unbreakable will. It is said that Genghis Khan judged the men around him not by the family they were born into, but by their loyalty and their skill, a very different rule from the world that had once cast him out simply for being a widow's son. What Genghis Khan built after this moment would go on to shape the entire world. Under his leadership, the Mongol Empire grew into the largest connected land empire in human history, stretching from Korea in the east to parts of Eastern Europe in the west, an achievement that would later expand even further under his descendants. He created a set of laws called the Asa, which applied fairly across all the different peoples now living under his rule. He built a military structure based on skill and loyalty instead of birth or bloodline, which was almost unheard of at the time. And under the protection of his empire, trade routes across Asia and Europe, known as the Silk Road, flourished once again, allowing ideas, goods, and cultures to travel further than ever before. The boy who once had nothing had built a legacy, meaning something a person leaves behind that continues to matter long after they are gone. But even someone as powerful as Genghis Khan could not escape the passage of time. He died in the year 1227, likely during a military campaign, though historians still debate the exact details of his final days. In a final, quiet twist to his story, he was buried in a secret location, deliberately left unmarked so that no enemy could ever disturb his resting place. To this day, no one knows exactly where Genghis Khan is buried. There is something deeply bittersweet about that. A man who once had nothing, not even a home, became so powerful that even his final resting place had to be hidden from the world, protected forever, alone. My friend, think about where Temujin started. No family left to protect him. No name that meant anything. Nothing but cold wind and an empty grassland. And yet, step by step, word by word almost, he built something the world had never seen before. Learning English can feel a little like that too. In the beginning, the words feel unfamiliar, the grammar feels like an enemy, and progress feels painfully slow. But just like Temujin gathered allies one by one until he built an empire, you are gathering words, one by one, until one day you will realize you can speak, read, and understand a whole new world. Every word you learn today is a small victory. Keep gathering them. Keep building. Keep listening, keep learning, keep going. This is PastEcho.